who had that 39-game hitting streak in July and August, trying to power Milwaukee back against the Tigers. A 3-run home run in the 9th inning. Molitor having a very special year. Earlier in the game, Darrell Evans hit number 30, the first player in Major League history to hit that many at age 40, and his home run made the difference in the 7-6 victory for the Tigers. Doyle Alexander, 6-0 with the Tigers. And in September and October, in the last 5 years, 20-4, he goes today. The Tigers, leading by a half game over Toronto, meet Milwaukee.
The National Broadcasting Company, now in its 7th decade of bringing you baseball's memories. Baseball's milestones. Baseball's majesty. And baseball's magical moments. NBC Sports proudly presents the Major League Baseball Game of the Week. Today from Tiger Stadium, it's the Milwaukee Brewers versus the Detroit Tigers. The Game of the Week is brought to you by Miller Brewing Company, sole sponsor of the U.S. Olympic Training Centers. By Pontiac, America's road car company. Pontiac, we build excitement. By Head & Shoulders Shampoo. Now your good grooming is head and shoulders above the rest. And by Mr. Goodwrench. No one knows your GM car better than Mr. Goodwrench. No one.
It's turned out to be a very nice day for baseball at Tiger Stadium. We had showers here this morning, but it is cleared off and we're set for the action between the Tigers and the Milwaukee Brewers. Pleasant good afternoon, everybody. Jay Randolph to call the play-by-play. Tony Kubek is alongside today as the Tigers, with that half-game lead, go again against the Brewers. These two teams have played better than anybody else in the American League East since the All-Star break. Right now, let's check in with Tony Kubek.
All right, Jay, thank you very much. With me on the field, Darrell Evans, a very historic moment for him and a win for the Tigers with his 3-run home run yesterday. Quite a thrill for you, Darrell, to have all those people standing, especially after you hit the 30th home run.
Well, it means an awful lot, Tony, especially since we won. I got to celebrate last night, and the people enjoyed it, and that's what you play for. Right now, the important thing is us getting a win and keeping ourselves in first place.
The Eastern Division only. Some people say it'll either be George Ballard, the MVP, or your number 4 hitter, Alan Trammell. What are your feelings?
Well, I think George, with this kind of numbers, it's really tough to take it away from him. But I think if we win it, then Tram's got a legitimate shot at it. I think you got two great ball players to choose from, and legitimately, they're both playing on teams that have a chance to win it. So it'll be real interesting. It'll be a lot of fun going down to the wire.
7 of the last 10 games are between the Tigers and the Blue Jays. Does your bullpen scare you a little bit after last night?
Well, I think we haven't got to use them very much. Our starters have been going so good, but they've done good in the past, and hopefully we don't have to use them as much. Henneman's done a great job as being the stopper, and King's throwing good again. So I don't know, but it's going to be like a World Series for us. So we're going to get to play those last 10 ball games, last 11 ball games, and have the thrill of all that, hopefully going into the playoffs.
Darrell, congratulations again. Thank you. We'll be back to Tiger Stadium in the starting lineups right after this message.
The lineup for Tom Trebelhorn's Brewers today. Paul Molitor leading off, followed by Robin Yount and Glenn Braggs and Greg Brock. Rob Deere follows, B.J. Surhoff and Steve Stanisek, Ernest Riles and Dale Swaim, the shortstop. And Tony will update you on how this Detroit defense looks this afternoon as the sun has broken through and we've got a lovely day for baseball.
It's a defense, Jay, that is very steady, as an indication last night when the Brewers were threatening coming back. Lou Whitaker at second base made an outstanding play on a line drive off the bat of Robin Yount to perhaps save a ball game. Young kid in right field, throws well, runs well. Scott Lusader will not be eligible for postseason play. Lemon went back to the center field barrier yesterday to end the ball game, so it's a steady defense. Brookins perhaps in the ball game today at third base because Doyle Alexander will throw a lot of off-speed stuff, and the Brewers do have a lot of right-handed hitters. The young catcher Matt Noakes having an outstanding year offensively. They may try and run on him when they get men on base.
Here is 37-year-old Doyle Alexander, and he is 6-0 with that 1.52 ERA. Acquired from Atlanta for pitcher John Schmaltz, August 12th of this year. 6'3", 200 pounds, and he has really done a job over here.
You know, it's interesting. If Doyle Alexander, who came over from Atlanta and was one of those free agents that didn't sign till really about May 5th, didn't pitch till the end of May, say he won 4 more ball games, which is not out of the question the way he's been pitching, would he be a Cy Young Award candidate? They wouldn't have won it without him. But he is one of those pitchers who throws more quality pitches than anybody in the American League within the strike zone. Sparky Anderson says if there's a man who throws as many quality pitches in the major leagues, he now belongs to the San Francisco Giants. His name is Rick Russell.
San Francisco, with the trades, have helped themselves into a very big lead out in the National League West. And these Tigers clinging to a half-game advantage over Toronto as we get set to play today. Manning has got himself a little, what would you call that, haute couture?
Well, this is, the cheeseheads in Milwaukee will appreciate this. Apparently one road trip in the midst of their record-setting winning streak early. A lot of the Milwaukee burgers showed up at the airport, and they called them cheeseheads. Juan Nieves called them that. Frank Viola, the schedule started for Minnesota against Candiati. Minnesota with a lead.
Paul Molitor set to lead off here. Dan Morrison will call the balls and strike this afternoon. He's working with Al Clark at first, Dave Phillips at second, and Steve Palermo at third. And we're just about set to get underway. Quite a game here last night. Tigers jumped out to the big lead and then held on to win it 7-6.
Interesting talking to Alan Trammell, MVP candidate with the Valley. He said, if I had to pick a guy, he said, I sure would give a lot of my votes to Paul Molitor if I had them. He's meant so much to the Brewers.
Molitor, 350 the average, second to Boggs in hitting in the National League. Boggs starting the day at 362. First pitch fouled away. Alexander ready again. And another foul. Molitor currently has a 9-game hitting streak. Look here. He is, as I said in our opening, having a very special year.
No question that when he is healthy and he has an injury problems throughout his career, that the team goes with him in the leadoff spot. Outstanding base stealer, some power.
Just missed outside.
Alexander, with the reputation as an off-speed pitcher, has a great change. Call it the circle change. It looked like a screwball. Occasional knuckleball, sometimes more than others, but he gets more hitters out with his fastball than his off-speed stuff.
There's another one low.
Ooh. Alexander thought he had that. Dan Morrison, home plate umpire, thought it was low or inside or both.
Molitor, 31 years old. The 2-2 hit on the ground. The shortstop, Trammell, in time, one gone.
If there's a shortstop in the game that has better mechanics than Alan Trammell, I've yet to see him. He is steady, occasionally sensational, and Alexander needs steady defense behind him. He makes you put the ball in play.
Robin Yount, here's a man, hard to believe, Tony, he only needs 8 hits for 2,200 in his career.
Just 32 years old the other day. He'll get his 3,000 someday, which some say is a sure ticket to the Hall of Fame.
He was 32 last Wednesday, in fact. His 14th Major League season. Came on board in '74 when he was just 18. Here's the 1-0 offering, and he tries to bunt. It's foul. Had a good idea.
You might see more of that. This is not a power team, the Brewers.
20 consecutive scoreless innings now for this man who seems to not be a man for all seasons, but a man for the fall. 20 and 4 in the last 5 years. September and October. Doyle Alexander.
He's been with 9 different major league teams. Started his career in the Dodger organization. Pitched the clincher for the Blue Jays to win the East a couple of years ago.
Into right field. Lusader on the run. Can't get there. Makes a good play, but it is a double.
Just another little thing that Doyle Alexander does to help himself. With Brookings having to hold fairly tight to third base in case Robin was going to go on an errant throw, Alexander backed it up and smothered the ball, so he backed up the play well. You could see by the way the ball bounced in the right field corner, and left field's even worse. A lot of rain here the past few days. It's a very soggy field, and the ball will stick.
The out started today, batting .305. Here's Glenn Braggs. This fella's had 6 hits in his last 10 at-bats. He's up to .272.
Gradually, Tony Muser, third base coach, hitting instructor, is shortening his swing, what they call flattening out the bat to take the loop out of it, and he's leveling on the ball more. They usually try and pitch him up and in.
There's a strike. Caught the outside corner. Tony, the sun has come out, and we have a bright sun shining. How is it for these infielders on a pop-up at the moment?
Well, Gibson took some balls in the outfield before the game, and he looked up here and he said left field's the bad field. And if he gets anything down the left field line, he'll be looking right into the sun.
Braggs, who came out of San Bernardino, California High School. Another one for Trammell. Runner holds the throw low, and a good play at first base by Bergman as he dug it out and held on.
That's an upset when you don't see Trammell throw a ball belt high. He had some shoulder problems a couple of years ago, started out this spring. And that's when Sparky made one of his very famous malaprop statements when he told Trammell he's going to have to play. He said, Tram, he said, pain don't hurt. Stengel didn't say it first. That's a Sparky Anderson original.
Greg Brock hit in 9 of his last 12 games. The average at .301, 78 runs batted in for him. That's on the outside corner. Alexander looking very sharp. He did give up that double to out down the line in right.
Now that he has jumped ahead of Brock, he knows he's hitting over 300. He's having good RBI here. First base is open, and Deere, who strikes out a lot behind him. So now Alexander perhaps not pitch around him, but he will be very careful and try and make him hit a pitch out of the strike zone.
1 ball and 1 strike. 340 down the line in left and 325 in right field. 440 to dead center field here at Tiger Stadium. They've been playing baseball here since 1900 when this site was known as Bennett Field. Fly ball to left. Gibson backing up, makes the play. No runs, a hit, no errors, 1 man left after a half inning of play. No score here at Tiger Stadium. Lou Whitaker will lead it off for the Tigers, followed by Bill Madlock, Kirk Gibson, Alan Trammell, Matt Noakes, Bergman, Chet Lemon, Scott Lusader, and Tom Brookins.
Defensively behind Chris Bosio of the Brewers. Deere in left, Yount in center, Braggs in right. Good-looking prospect in Braggs. Ernest Ryle, Dale Swain, Paul Molitor, who now is into about his 6th position. Greg Brock at first, and a very, very good-looking young catcher, B.J. Surhoff, catching Bosio.
Let me suggest that, as you saw, it's Evans batting in the number 2 spot, and not Madlock, as I indicated. Whitaker leading it off.
Chris Bosio started the season in the bullpen. Pretty much middle reliefs, along with Krim setting up Danny Plesac, the left-hander. Outstanding slider. He's throwing his fastball and straight change a little bit more now. Pitching well.
And the first one in for a ball to Whitaker.
A leadoff hitter with power, as you see.
That's outside. This fellow's a great favorite here, Tony.
He's very quiet, unassuming. Not great running speed, but he'll steal you the base when you need it. Great glove. He and Trammell have played middle of the diamond for this team longer than any other two double play combinations in the history of the game.
Two balls and one strike. Whitaker, 26 doubles, second in the National League. And it gets by. A tough shot that Riles couldn't handle. And that'll be a hit. Boy, that was a real shot to the left side.
So Ernest Riles playing in front of the bag in case Whitaker would bunt. Gets a wicked hop off the turf. Whitaker takes a little tailing fastball, goes the other way. Riles, remember, spent a lot of the time injured this year. Played shortstop on the ball club before. Now Swaim's taken that position over with. Deere got on that ball in a hurry because Whitaker was going to try for two.
Evans standing in. Tony, you talked with him before this game. Last night was quite a night here.
Well, if there's a team leader on this ball club in the clubhouse, you're looking at him. Darrell Evans. It's just been a remarkable story. When he came here, the owner, Mr. Monahan, thought it was a bad deal they'd made. The first big free agent the Tigers had ever signed. He's admitted now that he was completely wrong on Evans.
And a toss over to first base. Whitaker stolen 13 bases.
It's one of those situations. Evans, pretty much a pull hitter, a great low ball hitter, which also makes him a pretty good breaking ball hitter because he guesses. You'd probably like to keep that hole on the right side open for Evans to pull the ball through, create a first and third.
That's in there. Bell with an RBI double, and Toronto leads at New York, first inning of play.
And Mike Flanagan over from the Orioles, 2-0 for that ball club, starting today.
Just outside. I understand Toronto's playing that game under protest again because of the field conditions in New York. One ball and one strike. And again, a toss over.
Well, that conditions there. George Steinbrenner, the principal owner, who does a lot of charity work. About Grambling University, played a football game there with. He committed to it before his team was. They're not mathematically limited, but it was strange that Mr. Steinbrenner would allow that and tear up the field for his baseball team. It was nice that he did a charitable work. However,
this pitch is outside, and 2 balls and 1 strike. Evans, one of 2 players in Major League history to hit 100 home runs for 3 different ball clubs. There's Alex Grammas, the Golden Greek, coaching down at third base. Center fielder Yount makes the play.
Yount to really moved Paul Molitor off the shortstop spot. They came up just about together, and then when Robbins' arm went down, for those of you who don't know it, he was moved to the outfield, and he covers ground, but they may try and take advantage of his throwing, especially in the spacious center field where it goes back to 440. Got to be able to cover those gaps and throw well to play center field here.
Kirk Gibson hitting .275. Has 21 home runs this year. Hope you were with us on the pregame show as he gave us his thoughts regarding the collusion charges, and the word will come down on Monday.
When Kansas City was winning, won the World Championship, they talked about Brett as being the heart of the team, but Hal McRae being the soul. And if Trammell's the heart of the team this year, they talk about Gibson as kind of being the motivator and maybe the soul of the team. When they got off to that 11-19 start, he was not in there, and when he got back in, the team started gelling. He makes the entire lineup better just by his presence, no matter what his numbers say.
One on and one out. A little low, 2 balls and no strikes. Gibson off to a fine start. You'll remember last year, and had the ligament damage. He is from nearby Pontiac, Michigan. All-American flanker at Michigan State. That's high, ball 3.
Gibby's attention's probably a little bit divided with State playing Notre Dame today.
Imagine a lot of folks around here thinking about that. Michigan, we understand, had an early lead against Washington State playing at Ann Arbor. They led early 7-0.
Sparky will let these hitters hit 3-0 as he did Evans last night.
The walk. First pass given up by Basio.
That'll bring Chuck Hartenstein, the pitching coach, out, who has seen his pitching staff that was very young and inexperienced the first half of the season, with Higuera having a poor start. Higuera's gotten in gear. He's been all but awesome since the All-Star game. But they don't walk very many. And that's something that Hartenstein insists they do not do. And he's coming out right away not to get in the hole against the team by walking somebody that leads the major leagues in home runs. That's the Tigers.
Well, it was a tough year for Basio. September the 10th of '86, just a little over a year ago. It's not a very good way to spend a day here, is it?
You know, some people think that Chris Basio, and Hartenstein was talking about it yesterday before the game today, was throwing too many pitches. He's got a great slider. He's thrown a couple different kinds of fastball, a curve, a straight change, a forkball, so they've taken some pitches away from him. Thought he couldn't handle that many.
2 on for Trammell, who is batting .335. He's hit in 7 straight games. He's 3rd in the American League batting race, 8th in runs batted in, 9th in slugging average, 7th in on-base percentage. And into left field. Here comes Whitaker. And the Tigers lead 1-0. RBI number 99 on the year for Alan Trammell.
So he's going to get 100 RBIs. He's already got 100 run scores. He's in the top 5 in batting average. And where else do you find a cleanup hitter in all of baseball who has only struck out 50 times and driven the ball like he has? With an experiment in spring training that people said would not work, and Sparky said, hey, we'll have a lot of guys in scoring position with this team, especially when Gibby's in the lineup, and if Trammell, who puts the ball and play well, he'll drive in 100. So Sparky's experiment was doubted. Now, as he's heading for the pennant race, everybody's saying, what a great move Sparky made.
This is Matt Noakes batting right at the 300 mark. He's hit 29 home runs. 80 runs batted in for him, and there's a strike to him. Noakes has got a chance to be the first catcher since Rudy York hit 37 to go over 30 home runs for the Tigers. York hit 30. Hit 35 back in 37. This fellow's just a rookie. Oh, they've got great hopes for him. Stapleton loosening up in the bullpen for the Brewers.
They worried so about losing Lance Parrish, didn't he? And look what Noakes and how he's picked it up, and Heath did early.
Parrish somewhat of a disappointment at Philadelphia. Runners going, and the throw to third. He's safe.
What a surprise move by Sparky Anderson. And it wasn't just the runner saying, if I can get a break. Now, Gibson has had a pulled hamstring. He said, I'm not accelerating as quick. He said, but I was never a quick starter. You got a left-handed hitter up your 5-hitter. You got a young catcher, but they didn't. They picked a good pitch, a breaking ball down. Suroff throws well, but it didn't look like a play that would be a book-type play with a left-handed hitter up in your 5-hitter. And Sparky picked a great pitch and the kid to run on, and Basio took him for granted as a pitcher.
The Tigers perking early here at Tiger Stadium. Chris Basio in a jam. 2 strikes to Noakes. He could sure use the strikeout here. And he gets it. Big pitch there as Noakes goes down swinging. And it'll be up to Dave Bergman. Here it is again, Tony.
Bottom dropped out of that one.
His slider will do different things. Talking to Larry Haney and Etchebarren, two former Oriole catchers, they say sometimes the slider will bite and be on a flat plane, but a lot of times when he really gets on top, it'll do just that, almost drop straight down. Jim Clancy throws a slider like that at times.
Bergman's batting .289, 22 runs batted in.
And of course, with first base open, 2 outs, they know right-hand hitter Lemon, who's been slumping a little bit over the last month, although hitting well in the last 4 or 5 ball games. But Bergman in there because he's a pretty good breaking ball hitter, and the percentages. 1-1 now.
Henderson with the home run to tie it up. Bergman came over here from the Phillies in March of '84 with Willie Hernandez, and what a year Hernandez had.
Gibson with that great speed. You just saw him down at third base, and Basio bounces that curveball. Gibson getting a pretty good walking lead. That's why Basio's going from the stretch to try and take a couple of steps away from him.
And the 1-1 pitch is coming. And a fly ball into right field. Drags at the track. He got under it just a bit. But the Tigers get the early lead. They have the advantage 1-0 after 1. Well, the city of Detroit and surrounding areas, great Tiger fans. As you can see, they've got an excellent chance to go over 2 million, in fact.
And yet the team really, some people feel, has not caught on. The columnist here, Joe Falls, in an article today, started out, Tigers started poorly, as we told you, and then the Pistons, Isaiah Thomas are in the playoffs, the Red Wings are in the playoffs, the team started poorly, and it really didn't catch on, but the enthusiasm seems to be building. And now what do? They run into Pope John Paul II in town, which may have cut attendance today.
Well, the Pope having a nice afternoon for some of the activities. He spoke in near my Hamtramck this morning, and it was very cloudy after the showers, but the day has brightened up. Rob Deere takes a strike on the outside corner. 22 runs batted in for Deere in his last 15 hits. 241 on the season. He leads the American League in strikeouts, though, with 173. The American League record is 185. Pete Incaviglia in 86. That's all for Rob Deere.
And that's the pitch that will always surprise opposition hitters, that Doyle Alexander can throw the fastball as hard as this.
Pretty good
out
movement.
Of the strike zone, yeah. You know, Doyle talks, and when's the last time you heard a pitcher talk about changing the arm angle? If you watch Doyle from that center field camera, you find out that it'll be over the top sometimes, high 3/4 delivery, low 3/4, and then sidearm on occasion with all his pitches. And if you only got 2/5 of a second as a hitter to react to whether you're going to swing at the ball or not, by changing his arm angle, as he says, it gives you less time because you don't pick up the ball as well. And that's just another edge he's got.
There's a strike into the young catcher, P.J. Surhoff. He's hit in 5 of his last 7 games. 1 ball and 1 strike to Surhoff. Michigan is leading 13-10 at halftime at Ann Arbor. Oh, we've got that big crowd that's playing football, and the big crowds enjoying the visit of the Pope, and a pretty good crowd here at Tiger Stadium.
You want to talk about run production from platooning catcher? How about Bill Schroeder and B.J. Surhoff with 100 RBIs between them?
Into left field.
There's the sun.
And it's to the wall, and Surhoff has a double. Gibson really did have trouble picking that up. You mentioned that he had told you early today that was a tough sun field out there.
And that's the ball that he will have. When you turn toward the line, you can see his shadow elongated behind him toward left center field, and he looked into the sun and the ball sliced away. Surhoff hit a good pitch. Change up, down, looked like it was away, and he went with it nicely. A young hitter that Alexander did not fool. And there's also some slow footing out there in left field and some mud.
Yeah, this field has taken a lot of water in the last week. You see the area there around his feet. It's pretty chewed up and very damp. Steve Stanisic had his first hit in the major leagues last night in the 9th inning. He hit .352 with 25 home runs and 106 runs batted in at Denver this year. He's from Lake Forest, Illinois. Came from San Francisco in March of '86 for a minor league outfielder. Steve Stanisic.
You think he and his brother didn't have a nice day yesterday? Brother Pete Stanisic, the switch hitter, been starting now for the Orioles, had 4 hits in a doubleheader. Steve got his first major league hit here last night.
Big day for him. Swing and a miss. Alexander in his last 6 starts, he has been super tough.
Usually when Doyle walks somebody, it's because he's looking down through the lineup and trying to pitch around somebody. His control is usually exceptional.
Into center field and in front of Lemon, and runners at the corners. Another hit for young Stanisic. Lemon had a little trouble getting his motor started out there. I don't think he could have gotten to it, though, but it's tough. Yep.
Well, he's playing deeply with that 440 mark in center field, and the young catcher Surhoff didn't really read it off the bat very well. Went right over his head, and he thought it might be carrying all the way out, so he didn't get a good jump. He was protecting against being doubled off second base, and Lemon wasn't near catching it.
Here's Ernest Riles batting .259. He fouls it out of play. Riles, 26 years of age. In his rookie season, Tony hit .286 and was kind of hit, I suppose, with that old sophomore jinx, if there is such a thing, last year. He was back down to .252, and he bats .259 as he stands in there now.
Well, they know he's got a bat. He sprays the ball around, has a hint of power when he pulls the ball. Defensively, they're not sure where he's going to, what position he's going to handle.
Hitting room for him through the right side as Bergman holds at first base. The runners, Surhoff and Stanisic, third and first. Very pleasant afternoon. The temperature, I would think, in the mid-60s. One strike the count, 2 on and 1 out. Tigers leading 1-0. Foul outside of first.
You can see how smart Doyle is on that last pitch. Doyle Alexander. You know Riles is going to try and pull the ball, get it through the right side with 1 out, with the gap open. Whitaker shading towards second. Bergman holding the run around. So what does Doyle do? He gives him a pitch that you don't expect, and that's what Gibson was saying before the game. He pitches backwards. That's why he's so good. When you're looking for a fastball, which would have been the pitch to make him hit the ball the other way and not take advantage of the hole, he gives him a changeup, and he's way out in front of him. And you cannot predict Doyle Alexander's pitching pattern.
A little high, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Alexander, in '86, at a record 6-6.
Here it is
To
again.
the right side, they come home, and they've got Surhoff hung up. And the play made.
A great executed rundown by the Tigers. They don't make many mistakes. They're veterans. Surhoff makes the right play. He, of course, has got to come home to give up 1 out as he did and to prevent a 3-6-3. Bergman didn't feel he could go 3-6-3 with a left-handed hitter up. He gets home, and look at this. 1 throw from Bergman, a little flip. They prevent the runners from going second to third and getting in scoring position. So the rundown executed perfectly. Surhoff did what he had to. He tried to stay in the rundown to get the runners to second and third. The perfect execution by the Tigers.
Play going 3-2-5. Riles reaching on the fielder's choice. It's now Stanisic and Riles, with 2 gone for Dale Swaim. This fella has a 4-game streak going. Toronto back in the lead, 2-1, second inning. McGriff with the home run. 238 the average for Swaim.
Look out for pickoff at first. Whoa.
That's
was he out
low.
of position? The first baseman, Bergman, had a pickoff on, and he sneaked behind Riles, who was looking in the catcher's glove, and Alexander went home. The whole right side was open down the line.
Swaim batting left-handed. Here's that play,
Watch this.
Tony.
Let's see if you see Bergman coming to your picture.
There
When
he
he's
is.
doing that, Doyle Alexander had already pitched home.
Swing and a miss. Swaim batting left-handed, 214. Right-handed, 279 on the year. 2 balls and 1 strike. 2 on and 2 out. Alexander pawing at that mound. The runners now. Stanisic at second. Riles at first.
Talking about 84 RBIs for Tom Trebelhorn's Brewers in the number 9 spot swing.
That one right down the middle, 2-2.
Swaim will strike out a lot, but he's got some pop.
He's only 23 years old. Joined the Brewers last May. Called up from Vancouver.
Left-handed Dale hitting 214. Right-handed 279.
All right. The 2-2 pitch, changeup fouled away, and he just did get a piece of that one.
That's the pitch that is always on a hitter's mind, because it is a pitch that can embarrass you. As you saw, Swaim barely got a piece of it, but you've always got his great change and occasional knuckleball in your mind, and that's why the fastball sneaks by you before you know it.
Here's a final score. Minnesota beats Cleveland 3-1. That's a final. The Twins 3-1 winners. Another foul. The Brewers 6-5 against the Tigers this season. They are 2-2 here at Tiger Stadium. The Brewers, with a team batting average of 273, have hit 147 home runs, stolen 160 bases.
Now Frank Viola from the Twins goes 16 wins and 9 losses. Oakland, Kansas City playing tonight.
Just low, and the count is full. The runners will be on the move. And it's fouled, and we'll do it again. The Brewers are 38-35 on the road this season. They're 27-20 playing day baseball. Doyle Alexander, as I mentioned, 6-6 in '86 with Atlanta, 5-4 at Toronto in '86.
I think, Jay, a sign of a young team maturing is the fact that the Brewers in their last 25 road games have been 16-9, and that is Tom Trebelhorn, a great motivator who's helped out in that area.
Another foul back.
There's a man right there, Trebelhorn, who Ricky Henderson says of Tom. Trebelhorn managed Henderson in the minor leagues. He said, he taught me more, speaking of Trebelhorn, than anybody else about stealing bases. Remember, Ricky Henderson played also for Billy Martin.
Trebelhorn signing a 1-year deal last October. Succeeded George Bamberger. Took Vancouver to the title out in the Pacific Coast League in '85. And the walk loads them up. First pass given by Alexander. Oh, the base is loaded. 2 gone. Molitor grounded out in the first inning, and he has a chance to do some business. Sparky Anderson lurking there.
Billy Muffet, who was in the center of your picture after Sparky left, was under some heat after Roger Craig did such a great job, but I guess Billy Muffet proved what the staff's done this year and coming along last year. There's Billy. Proved that he knows a lot about pitching also.
He used to be in the Cardinal organization. Alexander's first pitch to Molitor is in there for a strike.
First time he's thrown that pitch this game from the side, a little slider.
They're the batting leaders in the American League. The year of the hitter in both leagues.
The year of the HR.
And just foul.
Oh, boy, that ball hit right on the edge of the grass and took a little veer to the left, and that's Steve Palermo down there looking right down the line. Look how much of the line Brookins was given to Molitor, feeling that Alexander would keep the ball away. He wanted to protect that hole to his left, and Alexander got one a little bit too far inside. So the Tigers got a little nice hop. Look at the room between Brookins and the line for a right-handed hitter.
Alexander out in front, 0-2 against Molitor with the bases loaded. A long one over the roof, foul. He turned on that inside pitch.
When you saw that defense with Brookins way off the line, Alexander has a philosophy. He likes to try and make the opposition hit to the biggest part of the ballpark. And in almost every major league park, center field is that part. Chuck Tanner said when we had meetings when he was in Atlanta, he wanted to play everybody straight away. And it pays off now.
Brookins on to second in time. And Milwaukee strands 3. They have left 4. An inning and a half has gone by. The American League Western Division race, and Minnesota has a victory 3-1 this afternoon. And Tony, that will put them up by 4 at this point in the proceedings, won't it?
Oakland plays at Kansas City tonight. Storm Davis going to start for Oakland. The scheduled starter, Pasquale's little brother. Pasquale Perez, brother. Cecil Cooper, who hasn't played in, I think, over 50 games now. Apparently on the last year of a big contract. But he's enjoying the ball game. That's Juan Nieves of no-hit fame behind Coop.
Chet Lemon leads it off, second inning. Detroit leading 1-0. Fouls the first offering from Bosio off to the right side. Lemon, 282 the batting average. He has a 389 on-base percentage, 8th in the American League. He's 67 walks this year.
Excuse me, Jay. He's always been a pretty good finisher, and they're hoping his bat gets in gear over the last couple of weeks. Had a nice August, slumped a little bit, but when they see all those left-handers the Blue Jays are going to throw at them, they want his bat and Herndon's bat to come alive.
Into the gap in left center. And off the wall. A double. Boy, oh boy, that ball got out there quickly.
And he had a reach for it. Looked like it was something up and away. And he almost flicked at the ball, and the ball jumped off the left center field fence. The power alleys here in Tiger Stadium, 365 to left, 370 to right. So don't let the 440 to dead center fool you. More balls are hitting those power alleys than dead center field. That's where most people's power are. And he almost got it out. He didn't get up under it enough.
Here's Scott Lusader, the rookie.
He may try and drag a ball on the right side. He's not basically a pull hitter, but he may try and get the runner to the third. That's his job.
That is his job. There's a strike on the outside corner. Stapleton continuing to throw down the right side for the Milwaukee Brewers. 3 runs batted in, no home runs. There's Stapleton.
Dave Stapleton with a little screwball and a sinker. Some say he's more effective against right-handed hitters.
Right down central.
Scott Lusader playing because Pat Sheridan, who played out in right field most of this season, and they moved Gibson to left, but Sheridan went into a slump, and Sparky thought it's time to get out and get some fresh blood in.
High. Toronto and New York now playing in the third at Yankee Stadium, 2-1, the Blue Jays.
Flanagan against Bill Gullickson.
Gets away,
oh, man.
And the runner moves down to third.
What a time to throw a wild pitch. 1 ball, 2 strikes. He overthrew a curveball, tried to snap it off too much, and he bounced it. B.J. Surhoff couldn't smother it. If you're a young catcher like Surhoff, it's kind of nice to be able to have people like Andy Etchebarren, the former Orioles catcher, Larry Haney work with you. This one he couldn't keep in front of him. Now the infield will be forced to come in for the Brewers. It changes the situation considerably for Lusader and for the defense, of course.
Here's the 2-2 pitch. And the strikeout. Lusader is out of there.
I believe He went to a forkball, a pitch that they talked about taking away from him. Yep, you can see him come out of his glove. A forkball that Suroff scooped before it hit the dirt.
Second strikeout for Bosio. Tigers leading 1-0. Hits even at 3 apiece. Bottom of the second, 1 out. And Lemon at third base for Tom Brookins. The infield drawn in now. Brookins batting .244. Just inside. Brookins, the first selection in the '75 draft for the Tigers. He caught the last 5 innings of a 15-inning win over Texas in July of '85. Pretty versatile fella. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Well, he's the guy that seems like, Sparky's the first to admit it, they try and give third base away to somebody else. Darnell Cole's last year, good RBI year, he's gone. They got Madlock and Jim Morrison this year.
And it's swept out to Swaim, and he throws on as the runner has to hold. And Bosio is about to pitch his way out of here if he can get Lou Whitaker.
A couple good pitches with the infield in. Forkball to Lusader to strike him out, and then an outstanding slider down and away to get the ground ball left side.
Those aren't boos for those of you who are not aware of it here in Detroit. When Whitaker comes up or makes a big play, the fans chant Lou, Lou. 1 for 1 today as he singled and scored in the first inning. Fly ball. Yount is on the run. Glass is down. He makes the play. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 left. And we'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Tigers up 1-0 on a beautiful afternoon here in Detroit. At Ladbrokes Detroit Racecourse yesterday, Tony, I was out visiting, doing a little homework for the Breeders' Cup, seeing my old friend Bill Bork. 4th race there yesterday. John Paul the winner. 36.80 the mutual. The trifecta paid nearly $400. You talk about a play for the hunch bettors. John Paul victorious at DRC.
Sparky Anderson had a better one. He got up at 5:30 this morning with Dick Trzaskowski, one of his coaches, and Trixie, his wife is Polish also, did a translation, and Sparky stood in line, and the bishop brought the pontiff over.
Oh, that's great.
And he said, "Bless you, my son," to Sparky, and it really made Sparky's day, to say the least.
I'm sure of that. Robin Yount leading it off in the 3rd inning.
Dick Trzaskowski to Sparky's left. Sparky said, "I couldn't believe it." He said, "It had to be coincidental. Overcast day. As soon as the Pope stepped out of his Pope mobile, as it's called, he said, the sun came out." He said, "I turned to Trixie and said, something's happened here, Trix." This guy's got a pipeline.
Well, Stan Musial, who is also of Polish descent, of course, has the same kind of power. I remember attending his induction into the Baseball Hall of Fame. It had been raining all morning in Cooperstown. When it came time for Stan to be inducted, the sun broke through the sky. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Popped up down the right side. Lusader is there and makes the play.
And you can see in the spring and at this time of the year, when the sun is very low, we get it run toward October, the sun field is now starting to go over to the right fielder, so Lusader's going to have a little problem with it, and the hitters will shortly too when they get in the black, and their eyes are focused for the shade, and they're hitting out of the glare, so that's more of an advantage to a pitcher, or should be.
And the shadows now almost engulfing home plate. Glenn Bragg stands in. He grounded out in the 1st inning. And this one into left. Gibson can't get to it. And it's another double.
It's a muddy track. Gibby is really having trouble getting going. And with that hamstring, he's very, very wary on the mud. Now on the dirt with the infield covered, he stole 3rd base earlier, but out there where it's very mucky and a lot of mud, he's being a lot more careful and couldn't get a good start on that ball.
3 of the first 4 hits for the Brewers doubles.
Well, you saw vintage Doyle Alexander in the 2nd, and perhaps it's his old Dodger training, the organization he started with. You don't get many big innings off him. He pitched out of a bases-loaded situation.
Brock flied to left to end the first inning. Detroit leading 1-0. That lead in jeopardy. Ball one. Brewers now about hit the Tigers 4-3.
What a job Brock has done. And again, he credits it all to Tony Muser, the hitting instructor. His average has popped up about 30 or 40 points higher than average.
Popped up. The third baseman, Brookins, 2 gone.
Once he found the ball and it was out of the rays of the sun, he flipped his glasses back up to get a better view of it. The wind that is blowing at anything that high, you could see the drift of the ball from down the third baseline out toward right field. If it's up in the air to right field high enough, it'll drift into the seats.
Deere struck out in leading off the second inning. Rob Deere. He's 26 years old. He made the '86 team as a non-roster invitee. And as you mentioned, Tony, he does take a cut, and he does strike out a lot.
Well, what he's done to balance out the high strikeout total, he's walking a lot this year. His on-base average is up, so if a guy strikes out a lot and doesn't walk, you say, hey, this guy's no value. But if he kind of balances off with enough walks, he's still a value.
I watched him here last night in batting practice. You were pointing out to me how strong he is. My goodness, he can really muscle it.
Well, the Giants had him. They felt he was going to strike out too much. Didn't know if he had a position. Played right field for the Brewers, this year left field.
1 ball and 2 strikes. Bragg's out there at second.
Oh, Doyle's walking to the dugout.
That must have been just inside. The plate umpire, Dan Morrison.
I wonder if Dan Morrison lost that ball. We've talked about the shade, and it's not that severe yet. That ball's got an awful lot of the plate. An awful lot of the plate.
Here's the 2-2 and a check swing and a little foul. The Tigers have won 5 straight.
The only pitcher I know in baseball that does what Doyle does, you just saw it there, when he drops down from the side, it is usually a fastball. He drops down from the side to right-handers and he throws that changeup, and hitters are usually way out in front, so he can throw it in a bad spot. Now he's going away again.
And he just missed away, full count.
Dan Morrison is squeezing the plate on Doyle Alexander in this at-bat. That was very close also. Matt Noakes, the catcher, is talking to him, but has not yet turned on him.
Probably wise. And the payoff pitch is low. That is the second pass issued by Alexander. Catchers can do a little talking as long as they're facing out towards center field. You turn around and start in on them, it's sometimes not a good idea.
On occasion, you will see Matt Noakes look into the dugout. Sparky, for his young catcher, will call a lot of pitch outs, and he will also at certain times call certain series of pitches in tough situations. Don't know if he'll do it for Doyle Alexander, who pretty much will call his own game.
Alexander is low in his first offering to Surhoff. Now remember, he doubled and then was cut down at the plate in the second inning.
When you watch Alexander after the signs are flashed, either Sparky or Noakes, Alexander will rub a couple of times. What he is doing in old Dodger system, adding or subtracting with the sweeps of his glove across the chest. And Doyle brings his own set of signs along, different than anybody else on the staff, and he will do a lot of things like that. There he goes.
Check swing, foul.
Trouble.
Fair ball.
Oh,
and safe
trouble.
at third. Bases are loaded.
He's off the bag. Now he's out.
He's got him. He's
off the bag. What a play by Brookins. The ball skittered over the bag and had terrific English. And when he could not stay on the bag, so Braggs makes a young mistake. Look at that ball come back. Braggs reached for the bag, but Palermo says, he beat the tag, and he beat the force. But now he goes off the bag, didn't slide, and it cost the Brewers.
Still 1-0 Detroit. Here's another view, Tony, that play at third.
Well, for some reason, Glenn Braggs did not slide, which was a slower way of getting there. He did not have balance. Palermo called him safe at first, and then when he was kind of edged off the bag a little bit on that shot from center field by Brookins, he's called out. So Brewers left the bases loaded in the second, should have had the bases loaded in the third, if not for that gaff by Braggs.
You rule it a hit, and the pickoff, and 2 stranded. Here's Evans. And Toronto, 2-1, 4th inning over New York. 2 balls and no strikes to Evans. That's outside.
Jay, that play on Braggs will show you what kind of player Brookins is. There's Glenn Braggs, who didn't slide, and he'd have gone in hard, popped up, would have been quicker, and he'd have been able to stay on the bag. But Brookins is the kind of guy who just kept the tag on him in case he'd wander off, and he made the call.
Second walk given up by Basio. The leadoff man has been on in every inning now for Detroit. Gibson walked and was part of a double steal as the Tigers picked up a run on 2 hits and stranded 2 in the first inning. Dave Phillips, the umpire, and he's having something to say into the Milwaukee dugout.
Jimmy Gantner with the glasses, who's had a bad hamstring tear, so he hadn't been able to play for quite a while.
Double play ball, and they turn it.
Give you an idea of the versatility of Paul Molitor right there. Molitor came up to the Brewers as a shortstop, moved to second base, then they moved him to right field, then he made the move to center field, and Robin got hurt, then he moved to third base, and he's also DH. This is the 9th game that Paulie has started at second base out of the University of Minnesota. He's just a great athlete. Without all the injuries, you'd have been talking about that kid right there as a Hall of Fame candidate. And he's just been hurt so badly with elbow surgery, probably have to have arthroscopic surgery again after the Tommy John operation.
Trammell got the RBI with a single in the first. That double play they turned a moment ago, the 147th of the season for the Milwaukee Brewers. And there's a strike. Michigan leads Washington State, third quarter, 20-10. I'm updating that score for our producer, George Finkel. Hope you're enjoying the sights and sounds of Major League Baseball on this Saturday afternoon from Detroit. The talented John Gonzalez directing our activities here today, along with Mr. Finkel and all the crew. And Tony, it's always nice to be with you and nice to come back to Detroit. I spent some of my younger years here. I had an aunt and uncle here for many years.
Younger years?
I have a birthday today.
You do?
39 again.
Happy birthday.
39 again.
It's interesting, Alan Trammell, who spent a lot of time in the 2 slot for the Tigers when Ralph Houck brought him up along with Whitaker. He's always been an outstanding player, but now he's become an impact player, as they say. Cleanup hitter. I mean, he's always had the glove. He's had 300 years. But now you add cleanup hitter for a shortstop out of the mold of a Cal Ripken Jr. Tony Fernandez, now another shortstop, batting third for the Blue Jays. Robin Yount batted third in the glory days of the Brewers when they were challenging the Cardinals for a World Championship.
Well, I know Tiger fans will remember that that fellow was the MVP of the '84 World Series.
Former hitting instructor Gates Brown helped him an awful lot when he closed his stance and he started hitting the ball the opposite way, handling breaking balls. Now he's cleanup. He's moved up on the plate again. Vada Pinson say, look, you can drive the ball like Ryan Sandberg did for the Cubs a couple of years ago.
And this is deep in the hole and no chance to make the play. An infield single for Trammell, who is 2 for 2. Started the day batting .335.
Vada Pinson has convinced Alan Trammell not to always do the same thing at the plate. Vada, not only mechanics, but it's a matter of adjusting at the plate according to pitchers, how they're pitching you. So they try to get a fastball by him inside, and place when he had the close stance, you could get Trammell out on. But now that he's up on the plate with a almost square stance, he handles the inside pitch better.
Noakes struck out in the first inning. Noakes came from the Giants with Dave LaPointe and Eric King for Juan Berenguer and Scott Medvin and Bob Melvin in October of '85. This will play for Rob Deere. And Molitor and Milwaukee down 1-0. Now here's a look back at a very special Olympic moment. Jay Randolph and Tony Kubek with you here in Detroit, and these Tigers seem to have the right kind of chemistry, and I think, as you indicated, they are turning the folks on here finally this season.
I think Jay Sparky's got to be a little bit worried about his bullpen that struggled yesterday when they had a 7-0 lead. He'd like to see Willie Hernandez. If you look for an edge in the Eastern Division, whether it's going to be the Blue Jays, they play 7 out of the last 10 against the Tigers. The last 3 games of the season, the Jays play here. It's perhaps the fact that Sparky would like to have Tanana ready for that. He's taking them out of the starting rotation because left-handers do give the Blue Jays trouble. Left-handers give the Tigers trouble too, and right now Jimmy Williams has a 4-man rotation with 3 left-handers in it. So I don't know if that's an edge or not, because you can't figure these things out mathematically. But you got a horse like Morris, and Doyle Alexander used to pitching on 3 days rest. That could be the edge in the Tigers' favor, so who the heck knows.
And Sparky has them set up just the way he wants it for those games coming up against Toronto. It certainly is going to be a dandy down to the wire. We've got 3 exceptional races going in Major League Baseball in this '87 season.
And Jay, how often do you hear the old cliche, and Sparky's usually we're going to play him one at a time, and yet he can say that all he wants, but he has set his rotation up right now so that Alexander and Morris pitch the last 2 games against the Blue Jays. And then he has them ready in the event the Tigers get into postseason play. So he's looking a couple weeks down the line, not just today and tomorrow.
Stanisiak singled in the 2nd inning, and he stands in here as we move to play in the 4th inning. 1-4-0 for the Tigers, 0-5-0 for the Brewers. Fouled upstairs off to the right side.
Well, this has not been an Alexander classic to this point. They've had 6 base runners standing in 3 innings. Toronto 2, New York 1, now in the 5th. But is it the inexperience of the Milwaukee hitters, or is it Alexander's smart pitching, making the big pitch and a little break there when Braggs went off the bag?
These Brewers were next to last in home runs last season with 127. Already hit 147 this year. Pop up. Trammell says, "I'll make the play."
Jay, that 147 home runs the Brewers have hit is tied for last in the American League. The Tigers lead the American League in home runs with 206, and they have an outside chance if they get hot to break the all-time record set by the '61 Yankees. That's 240, but they'd have to get real hot. The thing about the Brewers is, with that few home runs, they're still, let's see, they're 3rd in the league in run scoring.
And Riles trying to bunt his way on. Alexander fielding his position, and they're 2 gone. Alexander, as we mentioned earlier in this telecast, 20 wins and 4 losses last 5 years, September and October. Takes him a while to get it right. But he has been splendid. A real key for Detroit. 6-0 his record for the Tigers coming into this action this afternoon. Swaim walked in the 2nd.
Alexander does not say a whole lot, but when you get him on a club long enough, he's almost like having a second pitching coach. He understands pitching so well. Very outspoken. During the long strike and the little mini one-day strike, Alexander, although he was not a player representative, was right in the middle of things. When players wanted to know what was going on with the legal aspects of free agent, a lot of them came to Doyle Alexander.
Very bright gentleman. You know, Alexander, 6-0, has made 7 starts for the Tigers, and over that period of time and through the action here today, his team has never been behind. There's one on the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Vada Pinson. And there's Vada Pinson again.
Jim Morrison to Vada's left. They got him play against left-handed pitching to help that platoon. He hadn't seen much action. Vada's got Hall of Fame numbers if you look at him closely, with a home run, stolen bases, base hits, RBIs.
He's made a few stops in his career, too. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Minnesota's defeated Cleveland. That final was 3-1. Fouled away. If you're just joining us, the only score in this game came when Whitaker came home on an Alan Trammell single to left in the first inning. Three and 2.
There's a little changeup that looks like a screwball, and it's the changeup that so many pitchers are going to. Mario Soto throws one. They call it the circle change. Rolls off your little finger and tails away and down. Give the A-OK sign and put the thumb and pointing finger together. Put it back in your palm. That's what Doyle throws a lot of.
Another foul out of play. You know, you're talking about home runs and the fact that this has been the year of the home run. Detroit topped the American League in homers in '86 with 198. They do, as we've mentioned, already have 206 this season. And you can't tell me this is the same baseball we've been playing with. I mean, you can tell me, but I won't buy it.
Don't care what kind of testing they do. We've said it before. As Gene Mock said, observation will tell you. Forget testing. Balls have been hit. They've never been hit before. Our players bigger and stronger this year than last year. The trend's been going on for the last few years. Jack Howell snapped his bat off in Yankee Stadium. He's the California strong man. Hit a home run this year.
Into left field, and Gibson has this one measured. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. We've played 3.5 innings. The Tigers lead it 1-0. NFL action tomorrow. It all begins with NFL Live. Costas and the crew for you at 12:30 tomorrow. Great rivalry, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Browns at Cleveland Stadium. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. And of course, be interesting to see if this is the last weekend of NFL football action for a while.
Well, I'm certain that Gene Upshaw, Executive Director of the Players Association of Football, looking very closely at the Tom Roberts decision, which is scheduled to come out tomorrow. Players in football giving in on what they called unfettered free agency to start with. They've given something back. Players in baseball have given it back, but I think that decision may have some impact on what happens in football also.
Bergman leading it off in the bottom of the 4th inning for the Tigers, who have the 1-0 advantage. Bergman flied to right back in the 1st inning.
The 35-4 start the Tigers had when they won it all in '84, this guy had a lot to do with it. It seemed like every time you looked around, he's getting a big base hit, pinch hit home runs, big play at first base. He's had injury problems the last couple of years.
He hit only .231 last year, playing in just 65 games.
Another good crop of rookies also in the American League. You don't hear much about B.J. Suroff or Matt Noakes having the big years. I'm talking on a national scale because you've heard so much about Mark McGwire.
Molitor makes the play. Bergman is the first out here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Michigan now leading Washington State 30-10 at Ann Arbor in the 3rd quarter. Tigers up here 1-0. Bottom of the 4th inning. Good look there. Chris Bosio, record of 10-6 coming into today's game. 0-3 lifetime against Detroit. Here's Lemon, 1 for 1. And ball 1 to Chet Lemon.
Hitters will tell you, Jay, excuse me, that when you face the Brewers staff, you see a good arm almost every day when they're healthy. And the closer, Dan Plesac, the left-hander, came in for an inning yesterday. He is one of the best closers in the game with the arms well. You start talking Nieves, Higuera, Burke Beck when his arm is sound. Wegmans had a little arm problems, pitched yesterday, didn't have his good stuff. You're talking about a staff that since the All-Star game, since they're mixing in a few more change-ups and Chuck Hartenstein is refining some of their techniques and deliveries, they could have an outstanding staff next year. It's already starting to come together for them.
1 ball and 1 strike, the count. 1 out, nobody on. And that's high. I was going to mention that Lemon came out of Fremont High School in Los Angeles. That school has produced some fine talents. Willie Crawford, Bobby Tolan, George Hendrick, Bob Watson, just to name a few. Changeup is outside. It's 3-1. Lemon hasn't hit over 300 since 1981. He's standing in there now with a 284 average. And a long one. Way back. And home run. Chet Lemon is 2 for 2. RBI number 67, home run number 18 on the year.
At 10:30 this morning, when a lot of the Tiger players had not even been in uniform, Chet Lemon and Veda Pinson took a big bag of over 15 games left.
Ooh, that toss by Basio came close to getting by.
You know, he's a little bit upset yet after he gave up the home run to Lemon when he thought he knew he made a bad pitch. And I think he's still a little ticked off, and he almost fired in the right field corner.
Tom Brookins grounded out in the 2nd inning. First pitch to him in there for a strike.
You can see the mud on his left knee when he perhaps made what could be one of the big plays in this ball game when he got Braggs at 3rd.
Riles across the diamond in time. The home run by Chet Lemon. 2-0 Detroit. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. Chet Lemon. A lot of scoreboard watching going on among the players this time of the year. Toronto's leading 2-1, 6th inning at Yankee Stadium. Here, 2-0 Detroit.
Fellow with his back to you, it's Brad Kamensk, isn't it? He had a big year at Denver. He's the player that Henry Aaron once said when he was in the Braves organization had better talent than Dale Murphy. He struggled over there. Big year for Denver when they got him. Kamensk got hit in the eye and some batting practice. He was taken off the tee, so he will not be playing today. He may be one of those surprise prospects that late in his 20s now who could help this Brewer team.
Molitor has grounded out twice. You know, when Molitor starts, and he's hit in 9 consecutive games, the Brewers are 65-36. That's inside. When Molitor doesn't start, they're 16-30 this season.
I guess that's why he's been nicknamed the Igniter.
And a nice play by Alan Trammell. Trammell ranging to his left to make the play on the hard hit ball from Molitor.
Allen has good speed. He's not a real blazer, but like Cal Ripken over with the Orioles, he reacts to the ball off the bat so well. And before that, he saw the location of the ball from Doyle Alexander to Molitor. Out away, it was a pitch that had some speed on it, and he immediately was moving to his left.
Yount is 1 for 2, doubled in the first, fly to right in the third, swings and misses.
You got to wonder if even that last ball was hit hard off the bat of Paul Molitor, if the Brewers didn't let Doyle Alexander get off the hook.
In the 2nd and 3rd innings, they stranded 6. Oh, Alexander makes a nice play. They're 2 gone.
That may have been the first knuckleball that Alexander's thrown in this ball game. I've seen Doyle pitch games where he's only thrown fastballs and changeup from different arm angles. Sometimes when that's not working, that's a knuckleball. When that is not working, those 2 pitches, he'll throw up to 30 or 40 knuckleballs in the game. I saw him do that with Toronto. Looked like the first knuckler he's thrown. Just show them that extra pitch to throw another thought into the hitter's mind.
Here's Braggs with 2 gone. He is grounded out and doubled. And the changeup is in there. Let's remind you that we'll be selecting the NBC Miller Lite Player of the Game at the conclusion of this afternoon's action here at Tiger Stadium.
He started Braggs off with a knuckleball. Alexander does not coddle his arm. He throws more than almost any other starter in major leagues.
And
every game.
Two. He really took a lot off that first knuckler, though, didn't he, Tony? It just floated up there.
Just tried to get it over for a strike and get ahead. Here's where he's really got you. He's thrown 2 off-speed pitches and you say, uh-oh, is another one coming? And he's going away. Will it be sidearm fastball? Yep. Sidearm baseball.
And this may find the hole out there. It does. That ball hit into no man's land in short left center. The second hit of the game for Braggs, a 2-out single.
Darrell Alexander drops down from the side with a little breaking ball, and Braggs off the end of the bat finds a home. And with 2 outs, Chet Lemon in this deep center field went back, which is always wise with 2 outs. You want to give that kind of hit, but prevent the double in the gaps over your head. So he's conceding somewhat a single with 2 outs, which is what Braggs got, but he wasn't going to let him hit it over his head. Again, Lemon way deep in center field. He's probably playing about 405 feet away. Look at how deeply he is.
Fans have got the wave going here at Tiger Stadium. Brock is 0 for 2. He is flied to left and popped out. Throw over. Braggs has 11 stolen bases.
Brock's gone a little bit to the Charlie Lau theory of hitting that Tony Muser put in with that bat on the shoulder, flattened out more, hitting the opposite way a little bit more.
Outside. 2 balls and no strikes.
Brock was very concerned. I went to Tony Muser about a month ago saying, hey, look, I'm hitting for more average, but I'm not hitting any home runs. I want to hit 25. And Muser said, hey, pal, look, you're driving in more runs than ever have. You're 30 points average higher. Don't give up on all the success you've had this year.
2 balls and 1 strike. Detroit got a run in the first. The RBI to Trammell. He got Whitaker home. Chet Lemon with the home run in the 4th. Another one on the outside corner. It's 2-2.
Even when he was behind in the count to Brock, he still makes the quality pitch on the outer edge.
Scoreboard has 2-1, but I'm sure the count is 2-2.
Whoa!
High throw and safe at first.
Wow, 2 throws by Trammell in 1 game. Bergman saved him on 1 alone, but this one he couldn't save him on. So Alexander in hot water again.
He seemed to just let that ball float.
He didn't look like he had a good grip. When he took it out of his glove, you could almost see like it was a palm ball, and the ball took off on him.
Rob Deere comes to the plate with an opportunity. 2 on and 2 out. He struck out and walked. Deere held up, and it was low. Ball 1. Deere, the all or nothing at all swinger. He really likes to go at it. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Remember the first 2 at-bats to Deere? Doyle Alexander threw him high fastballs. Now he's gone away from that pattern and gotten the ball down and gone to more breaking balls. He's setting up outside again, Matt Noakes.
There's he got him, boy. That was a good pitch.
Sidearm changeup. You just don't see it from right-handed pitchers except from Doyle Alexander's pitching. What happens as a hitter, look at the runners at 2nd and 3rd. It's Braggs, and that's Brock. The hitter sees that delivery, and he thinks it's a fastball. He pulls the trigger too soon.
Struck him out. And the Brewers have stranded 8. Through 4.5 innings of play, Detroit has the lead. guys are standing down there listening to what we're saying.
Well, the fellow with the headset on is Tiny Felder. Fella who may be heading for another 20-game season. Teddy Higuera, Juan Nieves. To the right of your screen, who's already got a no-hitter, one of the brilliant young pitchers in the game. And there's the old curmudgeon, Cecil Cooper.
Here's Whitaker trying to bunt. Goes foul.
I'll tell you, they're having a good time when they should, because most quote-unquote baseball experts picked the Brewers to finish 7th place, at best 6th. And the core of that pitching staff sitting right there with Higuera and Nieves.
Why isn't Tiny in the lineup today? He's a 300 hitter against the Tigers.
He's waiting till his legs are needed.
Okay. 1 strike the count to Whitaker, who is 1 for 2 and scored the run in the first inning after he started it off with a single into left field. His 2nd hit of the day. And they start chanting, Lou, Lou.
Left fielders are having a heck of a time getting a jump on the ball. Now, the sun is now out of the left fielder's eyes. We saw it happen to Gibson earlier a couple of times, perhaps a slow start. But now, coming from the shadow to the sun, it didn't look like Deere got a particularly good start. You've got a situation here now with a pull hitter up, the hole open on the right side, a guy like Whitaker, who isn't a great base stealer, but you might have a hit-and-run situation. A lot of things can happen right now with a breaking ball pitcher on the mound in Basio. Look out.
A long one out toward the 370 mark. It's gone. Evans, who homered here last night at age 40, now has hit number 31.
Well, when you figure like people like Ted Williams, Babe Ruth, and go on and on with all the sluggers, Aaron, Mays, Mantle, didn't do what he's done. At age 42, Ted Williams, I believe, had 29 home runs. He was in the high 20s. A fastball, looks like it's up, out over the plate, about belt high.
Basio knew where it was going.
He's trying to pull it back in the ballpark with body English, but there's a wind when the ball's hit that high that just kept drifting it. And with the upper deck overhanging about 10 feet, he caught the upper deck.
Evans with an encore. Here's Gibson.
Home run number 208 now for this Tiger team on the season. They're now 32 short of the major league record for a season. Still got a chance at it.
Hit on the ground. And Molitor makes the play. Well, I mentioned earlier, of course, you talk about Evans. He's so talented. One of 2 players in Major League history to hit 100 home runs for 3 different teams, Atlanta, San Francisco, and Detroit. The other one, Reggie Jackson. Aldridge also warming up down there with Dave Stapleton in the pen for Milwaukee. Jackson did it with Oakland and with New York and California. Alan Trammell, he's 2 for 2. Got his average up to 337 inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. Oh, the Tigers 4-7-1. The Brewers 0-6-0. This Detroit club making it happen. Another one into left. And Deere had a little trouble, boy. That one almost handcuffed him. That shadow from the light stanchion is right there, Tony. That might be giving him a little problem. You see it there in front of him? Comes
Late
into
starts, and he battles it all the way into his glove. There are not a lot of white shirts for a background on a relatively cool day here in Detroit, so he's got a good background, but I guess it's just the shadow into the sun, and it's giving the left fielders trouble today.
Matt Noakes is 0 for 2. 2-2 tie, 6th inning, Yankee Stadium.
Detroit with a half-game lead over the Toronto Blue Jays. It could very well come to the last 3 games of the season for the Eastern Division title in the American League East and perhaps the National League East when the Cardinals and Mets play in St. Louis.
Ward got the RBI on a ground ball to tie that one up. Noakes puts it in play into left. Gear is under it, and he has it. 2-run home run by Darrell Evans. After 5 full innings of play, the Tigers 4-0. Well, you'll see that man next week in Toronto. Darrell Evans, the first Tiger left-handed hitting home run king since Cobb in 1909.
He now has 378 lifetime home runs in his 19-year major league career. He first came to the Tigers. He said he had thought that 400 home runs was probably out of the question. All of a sudden, the ball keeps resounding farther and farther off his bat. And with all the home runs, there's Jack Morris on the 3-day rotation. He's pitched so well behind him. I mean, the home runs, RBIs, the on-base average Evans had does not reflect how much he means in his presence in the clubhouse. In fact, before the ball game today, there was a near fight in the Tigers clubhouse. Willie Hernandez smashed the radio near his locker. It was too loud, and he was agitated by Morris and Heath, Kirk Gibson, and Sparky had to come out and stop it. And before the game,
Might have been a little hot about last night.
Well, Sparky smoothed it over and just told them all to shut up. We got a game to play. And Morris and Hernandez walked off the field together after batting practice and kind of made up. But there were some very heated words. The same thing happened in the Toronto clubhouse a few days ago with Jose Nunez.
There's Heath right there.
He was really an agitator today.
Surhoff leading it off in the 6th inning. Doyle Alexander throws. It's into center, and Lemon makes the play. He had to go even farther than that last night to make a catch in center.
Well, theirs are the kind of balls off the bat that you can't believe. Now, Surhoff is a stronger kid. He's done a little weight training. And Sparky's one who's a great believer. He's talked about the rabbit and the ball. You can hear the heart beating and all else. But he reached for a changeup, hit it on the end of the bat, and the ball went 420 to dead center field. People like Mantle and the Jimmy Foxes, the great Hall of Fame broadcaster Ernie Harwell says he's seen more balls hit in batting practice center field than he hit it all his years here. He said it's not that they're bigger and stronger.
Stanisiak takes outside. Well, you know, that 7-6 win last night, Tigers had a 7-0 lead. And Greg Brock hit one way out there in center with a man on. That might have been out in most every park but here, right, Tony? Lemon ran it down, though.
In fact, it's the only park it wouldn't have been out of.
I guess that's
in
right.
The major leagues.
Yeah. One ball and 2 strikes. Stanisiak is singled and popped out. Alexander rolling along with a 4-0 advantage.
And it'll show you when you look at Stanisiak, a right-hander, a rookie just called up, hitting in the DH spot before Cecil Cooper, who the big year that George Brett hit, the near 400 year, he hit 390. Cooper had a great year, and he's not hitting today.
Another one for Chet Lemon. 2 gone. Two now, 7th inning at Yankee Stadium. And you can bet that Toronto's looking at the scoreboard there and sees that these Tigers have the lead here over the Brewers. Ernest Riles reached on a fielder's choice and has grounded out.
When you're on a 3-day rest rotation as the Tigers and Blue Jays are now, you would like to have, if you're one of the pitchers as Doyle is, in that rotation pitching with 3 days rest, you'd like to have low-pitched ball games or a big lead like Terrell did yesterday, 7-0, then 7-1, where you can take him out and keep him at a low pitch total so he comes back as strong after 3 days rest. It's not happening with Doyle Alexander right now. Terrell threw about 80 pitches yesterday. He should be fresh next start. But Doyle's throwing a lot of pitches. They put the pressure on him, but haven't been able to get that hit to get the runs home.
2 balls and 1 strike, and Tony, we get word that Gullickson has retired 17 in a row.
Man who was leading the National League in home runs given up before he came over to the Yankees when Rasmussen went over to Cincinnati.
Sometimes a change of scenery creates a new well-being and a new atmosphere, and a player will seem to turn things around.
And a little bit bigger ballpark to pitch in Yankee Stadium, off the artificial surface also. I wonder if Doyle isn't tiring a little bit after a couple pitches.
He gets Riles to pop up. Trammell in short left. They're down 1-2-3. 5.5 innings. 4-0 Tigers. With Tony Kubek, Jay Randolph, we both spend a lot of time on the road, and we talk with a lot of people in Major League Baseball. In the last 5 days, I've heard it 3 times. Pete Rose is going to be the new manager of the Chicago Cubs.
Does Dallas Green know about this yet?
I wonder.
I've heard that same rumor from a fairly reliable source in the manager's office right here in Tiger Stadium.
Down here. Okay.
I don't know. Speculation again with Pete Rose, Bill Burgish, who I guess they've been criticized in a kind of backhand way by Marge Schott, the owner. So,
well, that'll be one to watch.
We've also heard Lasorda's name mentioned as the Chicago Cubs manager. And, of course, yes, John Vukovich, some people feel he has the inside track.
If he doesn't get the job in Chicago, Vukovich will be back with the Phillies as a coach. Coming on, Robin Yount makes the play on this one off the bat of Bergman. Bergman is 0 for 3.
Well, John Wathan has been rehired as the manager of the Kansas City Royals for next year. Elia's got another year in his contract.
What they did with Elia was make it quite clear that he would be back for next year, and I think it's a good idea there because he has an opportunity over these last few weeks to get the attention of the Phillies and get them ready for next year.
Yeah, we sound like Luella Parsons and Rona Barrett up here.
We're not supposed to deal in rumors, are we? That's one thing that has changed about this game. The media coverage from when you broke in, even, Tony, and certainly from back in the 20s and 30s.
Well, I saw more media coverage 26 years ago about this same time than any of the modern ball players have had. And even Pete Rose, when he's breaking the Cobb record, that was Roger Maris in pursuit of. And there were no press conferences then.
The late, great Roger Maris, a much misunderstood gentleman by the press in New York. Frankly, one of the finest men that I ever knew in sports.
One of the greatest ball players I've ever seen in the era of Mays, Mantle for 6 or 7 years. His power, the way he ran, the way he threw, and all else. He found that out when he went to the Cardinals.
Oh, and I got to know him well, and I'll tell you this, I miss him very, very much. And all of us who knew him miss him very much. Splendid man. Here's Lemon. He hit the home run in the 4th, doubled and was stranded at 3rd in the 2nd. The 2-2 offering is low.
Perhaps the most difficult pitch to pick up in these kind of conditions is the breaking ball, which Bossio's gone more to now. The curveball, you can hang it and you still can't pick it up from the sun to the shaft.
And
whoa, look at this guy.
Trying to head first slide down there. Lemon will do that on occasion, but Swaim cuts him down. And a nice round of applause for Lemon.
It gets hustle points and applause from the fans, but it's not quicker. And it's the kind of slide you can jam your shoulder, tear yourself up, but the fans loved it.
Cardinals' Jack Clark injured himself trying to make a move and deke a man at first base, and that was out of frustration in a day when the Cardinals weren't scoring any runs. He told me, he said, I have no idea why I did it. Into right field, Lusader, and it is Molitor who makes the play, and the Tigers go quietly in the 6th. We'll be back after these messages from your local. This telecast presented by authority of Major League Baseball. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball.
A strange way of putting it, a performance. Is this a Gilbert and Sullivan opera? Mandy, you're right. Frank Tanana, who's won 13 games at this point out of the starting rotation. He may be back before Toronto arrives in this town, before the Tigers go to Toronto. Way to the left of your screen, Walt Terrell with a win yesterday. Sinker ball who never seems to lose in Tiger Stadium. He's now 11-2 in this little ballpark, a good sinker ball pitcher. Walt Terrell, who once pitched at Moorhead State College for Steve Hamilton. I wonder if he taught him that big looping pitch that Steve used to throw. I think everybody knows his name by now. Tom Trebelhorn, who Sparky Anderson says without a doubt is the manager of the year in the American League with the job he has done.
Still a teacher in the off season.
Yeah.
A man who likes young people very much, and quite a fella. I met him for the first time last night.
He's got a great sense of humor. One of the most quotable managers in the game already in just his first full year.
This is Swaim, and he takes outside for a ball. He has walked and flied to left.
A marvelous job done by Harry Dalton, general manager of the Brewers, when he went out and got a young manager like Trebelhorn, because he knew he had young players like Dale Swaim and so many of the kids that he knew there wouldn't be a generation gap.
That's a little low. The Brewers minor league teams finished the season with a record of 370 and 256. That was best of all of the major league, minor league franchises. As
2 years in a row now. Yeah. Mets had that honor for a couple of years before that.
That caught the outside corner.
We'll watch Doyle Alexander closely. If there are signs of him tiring, Sparky was telling us he has a sign. He said, I let my veteran pitchers do it. When he feels he's coming near the end and tiring, Alexander will tell me, then I'll get my bullpen up. So the kid, I won't do that for.
3 balls and 1 strike. Tony, only 4 players remain from the 82 American League Championship Club of the Brewers as Sparky Anderson looks out there. Anderson, 53 years of age, from Bridgewater, South Dakota. That one's fouled out of play. Sparky, of course, holds the distinction of having world championship teams in both leagues.
Only manager ever to do that. Only manager ever to win 100 ball games in each league. He said, I may be the manager who breaks the all-time home run record if we get hot, and they've got 2 today.
And the strikeout. That is the 3rd. Sparky, only one man has managed longer than him here, Huey Jennings. There are the games remaining. Tigers with 8 at home and 7 away, and of course the activity with Toronto, lots of it remaining.
Well, Sparky has always been known as Captain Hook. Gets his starters out in a hurry, but this year's a little different. He's pushing his starters for a lot more complete games.
On the ground to Trammell. Quickly there, 2 out. Trammell is an outstanding shortstop. Molitor now 0 for 4 on the day.
You know, it's Ralph Houck, who's now a consultant for the Minnesota Twins and helped Tom Kelly out. It was Ralph Houck when the team was aging, and he and Jimmy Campbell, the president of the club, got together, and Ralph said, look, sooner or later we're going to have to bring the kids up. So he ended up bringing up Lance Parrish, Jack Morris, Dan Petrie, Trammell, Whitaker. He said they're going to have to learn to play on a major league level. And Trammell was very fortunate, Whitaker too, having Eddie Brinkman as their minor league manager.
Yount has doubled, flied to right and grounded out.
That was Mark Knutson, the right-hander for the Brewers, soft tossing.
Two strikes to Robin Yount. Alexander wasted one high. And we'll remind you, Minnesota has won today, 3-1 over Cleveland. Toronto and New York tied up 2-2. Tigers leading here 4-0. And the strikeout is the 4th for Alexander.
Another sidearm changeup inside, a bad place to put a changeup, but the delivery just fools right-handers. He's on a roll now.
And we'll be heading to the bottom of the 7th, but right now another edition of Characters of the Game. Well, it'll all kick off with NFL Live tomorrow, and of course they'll be discussing the latest on the possible National Football League players strike and all the ramifications. Check your local listings for the game to be seen in your area. National Football League action tomorrow right here on NBC. And here at Tiger Stadium tomorrow, it'll be Jack Morris, 18-8, against Juan Nueves, 12-7. Brookins leading it off here. He's grounded out twice. We're in the bottom of the 7th inning, and the Tigers in command 4-0.
And Doyle Alexander, all of a sudden, having settled in, has retired 7 in a row now.
Just when it looked like he might be tiring a little bit, as you noted.
A base hit or so here or there early in the ball game, he might have been gone. And that's what you want to do. Try and get into the Tigers bullpen, although Petrie's pitched very well. He didn't get him.
Safe at first. It was a tough play, a little sweeper. Swaim did all he could. And the infield single for Brookins.
It's one of those that you would prefer to have your shortstop, if he can, catch it with 2 hands instead of 1 and then coming up and taking 3 extra steps.
Lou Whitaker has scored twice. He singled in the 1st and came home, and singled again in the 5th and scored in front of Evans, who homered. In the 2nd, he flied to center field.
Spacio had retired 6 in a row until that point. This Tiger team, as we look at the Yankees leading by 1 run now in the 7th over Toronto, they have a way of advancing runners. They don't hit into a lot of double plays. They're not a big running team, but veteran players will hit the ball to avoid making those 2-out situations. Right now, Whitaker looking to try and pull something to the right side, maybe create a 1st and 3rd, or if it's a ground ball, it's tougher to convert the DP 4.63 or 3.63 than the other way.
Ricky Henderson got the RBI in that action at Yankee Stadium. Here's the 1-1, and at the knees, it's a strike, and it's 1-2. Good look at Basio. He's 24 years old. A couple of Californians hooked up in this one today. Basio from Carmichael. Alexander from Cordova. Actually, Alexander's from Cordova, California, or Cordova, Alabama. I got to look that up. That strikeout.
It'll give you an idea what the sun to the shadows does to it. It was a hanging breaking ball that Whitaker just couldn't stay on. It was a hitter's pitch, but again, that high breaking ball looks like a blur, looks black when it comes in. You can't pick up the rotation. It becomes a very effective pitch.
That is 3 strikeouts now for Basio. And here's Evans. He homered in the 5th, walked in the 3rd, and this one into right on the run. Off the glove of Braggs. And the throw
Look
to
out.
3rd.
Ooh.
In time, not in time, as they're at the corners. Braggs went up. He got his glove on it. Looked like he should make the play. Tony, I think the sun bothered him.
It did. It's a catchable ball. It was a sinking and hooking line drive, and he didn't really run after the ball well. In a strange ballpark, he didn't know exactly where he was. They've given Evans a hit, but that's charitable. That ball's got to be caught. He didn't have to extend himself. The sun bothered him, and it hits on the heel of the glove, and that's not really a hit, folks. The major league outfielder's going to catch that every time. He just didn't get a good jump and couldn't run well because it was on the edge of the sun glaring into his face. And of course, the base runner, Brookins in this case, couldn't go too far. He went halfway in case it fell in, and then when it hit his glove, he thought he was going to catch it. He's retreating, but he still made it back in time to go to 3rd.
And Stapleton comes into the game. We'll take time out for these messages. The new pitcher is Dave Stapleton. He'll be 26 years of age in October. Born in Miami, Arizona. Resides in Claypool, Arizona. He was 11-3 at Denver this season. And a 4.04 ERA. He faces Gibson here with 2 on and 1 out, and it's strike 1.
Let's see if the book that Brewer broadcaster Mike Hegan gave us, that Stapleton at times looks like he's more effective to right-handed hitters than left. Left-handers, sometimes they take the screwball away. Doesn't throw hard, a little sinker ball, screwball. And a lot of pitchers fear throwing the screwball to left-handed hitter because it breaks inside. And if you get it down and in to a guy like Gibson, that's the pitch you can really leverage.
1 ball and 1 strike. The left-hander comes in, and they turn. No, they don't. I was about to say they turn the double play. The run comes home as Brookins scores, and it's 5-0.
Even with a slightly pulled hamstring, Gibson avoids a double play on a very hard hit ball. Molitor did all he could to unload.
That's why I thought they'd turn it very close there.
And that's why Sparky Anderson once said of Kirk Gibson that he's got the potential of a Mickey Mantle. Sparky later said that he made a mistake, put too much pressure on Gibby. But Gibson has that great speed and great power.
Mark Clear throwing in the bullpen now. And here's Trammell. Low to Trammell, who is 2 for 3. Single, RBI in the first, single in the third, lined out in the 5th inning. 5-9-1 now for the Tigers. Throw over to first. Stapleton in relief of Basio. 5 runs charged to Basio. In the hole. Tenth hit of the game. Trammell is 3 for 4. Started the day batting .335.
Well, if there's been a big move in baseball made this year that took a lot of guts, it was made by Sparky Anderson putting Trammell in the cleanup spot. And it sure has paid off. What some of Sparky's thinking was, with Gibson hitting in the 3 spot, with his running speed, when he got on, it'd mean that Trammell would get more fastballs. And because Trammell doesn't strike out, he also felt it with Whitaker and Gibson at 1 and 3 spot, there'd be a lot of first and thirds, and all Trammell would have to do is hit the ball to get a run home, and Trammell sure has done that.
Matt Noakes is 0 for 3 on the afternoon. And now Surhoff wants to talk things over with his hurler. Stapleton attended Grand Canyon College out in Phoenix. He was a member of the 1982 NAIA championship team. One ball and 1 strike. 2 on and 2 out and a run home.
Tigers have bats throughout the lineup. They've got bats on the bench, leading the major leagues in runs scored, and they just keep throwing hitters at you. They kind of grind you down as a pitching staff. With a good on-base average, they'll take the bases on balls. But you can't beat a 3-run home run, which they get an awful lot of. Over 162 game bench and bullpen. They've got the bench. Will the bullpen be good enough? Henneman's done an outstanding job. Mike Henneman. Petrie pitching well out of the pen.
Yeah, Petrie's really been tough.
Jeff Robinson gave him a boost starting first half. Now he's in the bullpen.
That just missed inside, and it's 2-2.
And I would guess that when the Tigers do play that Blue Jay team, Blue Jays leading the American League in team ERA, that, and with some left-handed pitchers, runs will not come, or should not come, as easily for the Tigers. So perhaps the bullpen becomes more of a factor.
Oh, an excellent pitch. And he struck out Noakes. The run makes it 5-0 Tigers. One of the T-shirts here. Bless you, boys. That's going right to the top, isn't it?
Pope John Paul II in town. He'll have an audience with the Vice President of the United States later on today. That was the slogan. In fact, I think it was the title of the book for the '84 championship
That's
scene
right.
that Sparky Anderson, along with PR Director Dan Ewald of the Tigers, wrote. It's happening next week.
Well, it'll be the Tigers and the Blue Jays, the Cardinals and the Cubs. Only 15 days left in the regular baseball season. And, of course, the fever is high. It'll all begin with Major League Baseball, an inside look with Marv Albert at 2 p.m. Eastern next Saturday. The tradition is here. The memories are waiting on NBC Sports. And the Yankees 4-2 now over Toronto in the 7th inning.
Be interesting to see with Jimmy Williams, the Toronto manager, protesting the game before yesterday, and of course they won, so he withdrew the protest. He did it again today. I would think that Dr. Bobby Brown or Bob Fisher, one of his assistants, are in New York watching those games, and I don't know where you can go when you say the last trip in the field is unplayable. You got to play him sometime.
This is slashed foul off the bat of Braggs, who is 2 for 3 this afternoon. Well, we had a game earlier this season that I was involved in at Shea Stadium in New York that Whitey Herzog felt Doug Harvey should have called, and he didn't. Looking throws out Braggs. You understand that the teams earlier this week did no complaining when they were in town at Yankee Stadium after that football game was played there.
8 in a row set down now by Doyle Alexander, and that was the changeup from the side. And again, and it's one of the reasons Brookie's playing at third base. He's got the good glove, the good throwing arm, and I would think the Brewers are going to try and look during the offseason for a left-handed hitter who's got a little pop. They're fairly strong from the right side. Brock's proved to be an average hitter. He's driving in runs. Swaim not hitting as effectively from the left side. He's a switch hitter, so I think the power hitter from the left side might be on the menu over the offseason for Harry Dalton, the GM there.
1 ball and 1 strike, 1 out. Brock has flied to left, popped out, and reached on an error. Five, 10 and 1 for the Tigers. 0-6-0 for the Brewers. That's 2 balls and 1 strike. Tigers got 1 in the first, and another on a home run by Chet Lemon in the 4th. 2-run homer by Evans in the 5th, and another run in the 7th. The Milwaukee club threatened in the 2nd and 3rd when they stranded 5 over those 2 innings. 2-2 to Brock. Crowd having a lot of fun here on this Saturday afternoon. The strikeout is the 5th now for Alexander, and he's sharpened up here over these last 2 innings.
Well, when he needs the fastball, when they're sitting on the off-speed pitch, he's got it.
They are loving it here as they put that New York-Toronto score up 4-2, and you hear this crowd as you look again.
There's a fastball down low in the strike zone that, and it's all relative. With his great change, the occasional knuckleball, 7th inning, that was the hoot you just heard from the Tiger fans. You know, surprisingly, I would think there's some Blue Jays fans here, too. Not a whole lot, because with Windsor,
Right.
and now that he's settled in the groove, his control has become sharper. They let him off the hook early.
Hasn't walked anybody since the 3rd inning.
And he's starting to strike out more now, too.
And this is the 2nd walk to Deere, and he got that walk in the 3rd. A total of 3 walks for Alexander.
Sparky signaling out for Suroff up to Evan Bergman, his first baseman, to play behind the runner. Cut off the gap, and he said, but make sure you tell Doyle Alexander so he doesn't throw over. If you throw over and first baseman just in the air, they can call a balk.
Suroff is 2 for 3. Strike 1. Suroff doubled. Was caught in a rundown between home and 3rd in the 2nd. He got an infield single and then was picked off in the 3rd and fly to center in the 6th.
Remember a few years ago, Jay, they used to call a pitcher like Doyle Alexander a nibbler. Now with the new baseball jargon, he is a painter. He paints. He's a Picasso. He paints the corners now. And then the catcher with the glove frames the corner and jerks those pitches in.
Into right field. Deere goes on to 3rd, and they're at the corners with 2 out.
You can sit and look for Doyle Alexander's changeup, but because it's not only change of speeds, Blue Jay, Whitmer, who goes down, and the catcher, so that's a sign the bullpen would get ready.
Alexander has thrown 124 pitches, and they are getting ready. That's Lowry going down.
So we apparently, with 2 catchers strapping the gear on down there in the mass, going to have a couple of pitchers get up.
Who's coming out yet? But
Mike Henneman is the man who's out now, who's been a real godsend for Sparky Anderson. And that'll get a trip from Billy Muffett. Perhaps Doyle Alexander sent the signal into Sparky that he may be tiring after he got a change up to Surhoff up, created a first and third on the base at the right. So Hernandez now, the left-hander, gets up. Thurman is up also. They can have 3 guys throwing. Nope, Thurman's just going to protect him down there. Once again, the Brewers in the situation now where a couple base hits could get them back in this ball game. Willie Hernandez and Mike Henneman.
Steve Stanisic has singled, popped out, and flied to center. Deere is at third. Surhoff at first. 2 out. 8th inning. Tigers leading 5-0. This Milwaukee club mounted a comeback here last night and almost pulled it off. They lost 7-6. 1 ball to count. Foul outside of third, 1-1.
If Doyle Alexander tires and he loses just a little bit off his fastball, it means that you can sit on his changeup and then he still cannot throw the fastball by you. That may be happening now, but when he's got that little bit extra, and he's not a 90-mile-per-hour pitcher, if he gets in the mid-80s or a little higher with a great changeup, he's effective. But a little off the fastball, you can sit on the changeup, and if he can't throw the fastball by it, then he gets in trouble. And what does he do? Then he drops down and changes, as he says, the arm angle to just take another edge in his favor.
This fellow knows how to pitch, but he may be getting a little tired. That just in at the knees. 1-2.
Bill LaJoy, the GM, has done a job. When he went out and got Alexander from the Braves, Madlock, who can still hit that fastball over from the Dodgers.
Struck him out. Strikeout number 6. And 2 more are stranded. Milwaukee has left 10. Mark Allen Clear is the new pitcher. And Clear, acquired from the Boston Red Sox for infielder Ed Romero in December of '85.
Awfully tough on right-handed hitters. In fact, to show you that when the Brewers really fell out of the pennant race, they played very good baseball since the All-Star game. Tom Trebleorn's pitching staff not pitching well. They had some injuries. Mark Clear got his first major league start. John Henry Johnson, since released, has started the ball game. They took Chuck Trim out of the bullpen, who was an excellent long and middle reliever. Made him a starter for 6 outings.
Bergman is 0 for 3. On the outside corner for a strike from Mark Clear. Stapleton went 2/3 of an inning, gave up a hit and struck out 1. Lazio 6 1/3, 5 runs on 9 hits, 3 strikeouts and 2 walks. Yankees leading at 4-2 there in the 8th. Things looking rosy for the Tigers right now.
Could jump if these 2 scores stand up, a game and a half ahead of the Blue Jays. Yeah.
This is popped up and
can't find it. First baseman Brock looked into the sun, lost it completely. B.J. Surhoff and Molitor ran as hard as they could, but as soon as Brock looked up, he hit the sun, put the glasses down, but this wouldn't come out of the center. The wind drifted it away, and Surhoff had a long run in Molitor, but they couldn't get it. There he says, "I'm helpless, guys. Help me out." I guess he didn't put his sunglasses down. He just never picked the ball up.
Bo Schembechler's bunch at Ann Arbor has beaten Washington State 44-18. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Bergman. Foul to the right side. Bergman, Lemon, and Lusader here in this bottom of the 8th inning with Detroit up 5-0. Another foul.
So far, he's thrown Bergman what up in Boston they used to call the cleaver. Combination of Clear's name and that big curveball. It just keeps on breaking.
into right field, and this time Braggs makes the play out there. He messed one up earlier, although it was called a hit. Chet Lemon has doubled, homered, and grounded out.
With this background now, and with the cleaver out there, this is not a pleasant thing for a right-handed hitter to have to face.
You're right there.
He starts that thing behind you. Good fastball, first pitch.
The Tigers lead the American League in runs. They had 824 coming into today, and they have plated 5. You see Lemon smiling. He's not real thrilled, but he knows what he's up against.
He looks like he's moved about 8 inches farther away from the plate, too.
Atman's just outside. September 19th, 1984. You know what happened on that day?
I bet you're going to tell me.
I will definitely tell you. The Tigers clinched the American League East crown. Lemon is the second out. It'll be a little later date this time around if they get the job done. Tom Treblehorn.
He came into Milwaukee, for those of you out of the Milwaukee viewing area and Detroit area and other places. He came into Milwaukee during the offseason, and for PR purposes, he taught a couple of classes in the schools in the area. A great educator, he considers himself, and that's another reason Harry Dalton hired him. Educators are great teachers, and that's what he is, and he wants these kids taught, and the team is blending. I don't know if they'll be a contender next year, the Milwaukee Brewers, but they've got good arms, good bats. They're producing more runs this year than last year, where they're bottom of the league or near it.
1 ball and 1 strike to the rookie Lusader. He is 0 for 3. And 1 ball and 2 strikes. Riles, Swaim, and Molitor due in the 9th for the Brewers. A little high with a changeup.
And we think Doyle Alexander will come out into those shadows in the 9th because they've stopped throwing in the bullpen. So apparently he wants a complete game, or at least a shot at it.
And he would like the shutout, I'm sure. 5-0 the Tigers. Into short right field. Braggs glasses down, makes the play. They're down 1-2-3. After 8 full innings of play, the Tigers leading 5-0. Well, there's some talented artists on hand today. That usual drawing of the tiger. There's a tiger on the hill here this afternoon. Doyle Alexander, 28 consecutive scoreless innings, 32 here at Tiger Stadium.
He has already pitched 2 complete game shutouts since coming over from Atlanta. He has combined with Mike Henneman, the reliever, for 2 more shutouts. And he looks like he's riding one right now, even though he's pitched in and out of trouble. And, you know, I guess, Jay, the sign of a good pitcher, especially a good stretch pitcher as Doyle is when you come out here, you're in trouble, you don't have your best stuff, and you still can stay in a ball game going into the 9th.
Well, it's the mark of the veteran hurlers, the fellows who seem to get the job done. Some days they may not be at their best, but they still are able to handle the situation, and he's got the shutout. Here is Riles, and that's the first out of the 9th inning as Riles is 0 for 4.
Now Alexander has given up just 1 run in his last 40 1/3 innings. Last run off him came in the 3rd inning back on September 4th. Bob Brower of Texas hit a home run. That's how good he's been down the stretch, but it's been his pattern almost his entire career, September, October.
Swaim 0 for 2 today, flied out and struck out. He walked back in the 2nd inning.
You think
Detroit,
he doesn't have a little bit of the killer instinct, Alexander,
yes,
to finish off hitters and finish off a game?
He's hanging in there and bearing down, and the Tigers are about to go a 1.5 games up on Toronto. That game is not over in New York, but if it stays that way, 4-2 New York, and they're in the late going, it'll be a big afternoon for the Tigers. Alexander out in front, 0-2. Molitor still will have an opportunity maybe to keep his current hitting streak going. That's high. Molitor had that 39-game streak back during the summer, and a 9-game streak coming into this play here. Fouled away. The count stays at 1 ball and 2 strikes.
The story here has been that man right there, Doyle Alexander. Perhaps a combination of sun shadows, perhaps throwing in another little ingredient, the Brewers with a little poor base running, and the inexperience of some of their young hitters. And veterans like Doyle Alexander thrive pitching to young hitters, especially with that great changeup he's got.
Out of play, off to the left side.
Doyle shoots down the theory that velocity is important, right and left. Now, if they start talking change of velocity, which he does so well, changing speeds and movement on the ball and location, the more important ingredients for a pitcher, unless you know Ryan, just keeps going on and on.
Ooh, just missed. Wow. That's 2-2. Tony, as I look around this historic old ballpark, 34,000 plus here today, and I don't think very many people have left. They're really enjoying this.
Now they're catching on. Some of the writers here who's trying to find reasons why they're not drawn. Picking up now. Slice. Foul.
Just foul.
This is a great sports town. I think the sport here is baseball, and because of this great old ballpark, but they've got some great writers here. Tom Gage, I love to read his stuff, and John Lowe and Joe Falls and some of the others in this area. They really keep these fans in a very sophisticated mode. I mean, they know what's going on. And these fans can be tough. They expect a lot.
5-0 Tigers. 2-2 the count. Swaim standing back in there against Alexander. 3-2.
Tigers are trying to wrap up their 6th win in a row, which really in this year of streaks in the American League, losing streaks, long winning streak. We all know about the Brewers streak to start the season, a record setter. But the most they've won all year is 6. So if they win today, it would tie it. But as you said, they've had the best record in baseball since the All-Star game. And they are so consistent. They play so well in this ballpark, take advantage of those short power alleys.
And the walk to Swaim. The 4th pass charge to Alexander now. And we'll come back to the top of the order and that opportunity for Molitor.
Sparky Anderson said he learned one thing from the late Casey Stengel. He learned a lot, but one important thing: never take your eye off your own pitcher or the other. And you can see when the ball's in play, he's on the pitcher and he's looking for that sign from Doyle in case Doyle says, "I've had enough." But Sparky wants innings and complete games from his starter. He's a little bit shaky about that pen.
That's low for a ball. Molitor has grounded out 3 times and lined out. Hernandez and Henneman heating up in the bullpen. Low again. And Alexander stepping off the mound, walking back out behind the hill, trying to gather himself one more time and finish it off here.
Well, the Tigers have 29 complete games, only 28 saves. Those don't look like pennant-winning numbers. You say, well, that's not a good bullpen. But they got a chance at the East, don't they?
They sure do have a chance. They seem to be in the driver's seat. Ooh. Oh, Alexander did not like that one. He thought sure that was a strike. Apparently, Mr. Morrison behind the plate didn't, and it's 3-0. Well, now, after Riles is grounded out, he walks Swayam and Molitor. And here comes Sparky.
Willie Hernandez and Mike Henneman are ready if Sparky needs them. Has he already gone to the right-hander? I believe he's given the sign.
Yep. It'll be Henneman. Doyle Alexander, 8 1/3. Fine performance.
Best stuff.
Yep.
You know, if this score holds up, the Tigers win, he will then, Doyle Alexander, be 13-3 in this ballpark.
Mike Henneman in relief, pitching to Yount. A strike at the letters. Final score from New York. The Yankees beat Toronto 4-2.
The Tigers' lead now stands at 1 game, might go to a game and a half if they hold on to this lead. Henneman pitched a third of an inning yesterday, gave up 3 earned runs on 3 base hits.
Swayam and Molitor on base with 1 out. And Henneman out in front, 0-2. Eric King now joins Hernandez in the bullpen down the left side. 9th inning. Detroit leading 5-0 in this big crowd, rooting on every pitch. Henneman strikes out Yount.
If Henneman throws a forkball, that sure looked like one. Got a sinker slider, but that one just dropped off the table.
The executive producer of NBC Sports is Michael Weisman. Coordinating producer of NBC's baseball, Harry Coyle. Today's game was produced by George Finkel, directed by John Gonzalez, and our pregame was produced today by Steve Dans. Here's Glenn Bragg. Henneman looks like he's got a meeting out of his hand.
Well, just another one of the pieces of the puzzles for Sparky Anderson and Bill LaJoy, getting him out of the farm system. Some say he's the executive of the year, Bill LaJoy. But Henneman fit right into the pieces for Sparky, who said he'll no longer have just one stopper as he did when Hernandez had the big year in '84. He said it's bullpen by committee for me, and Henneman's been a big part of the committee.
2 on and 2 out. Fouled away. And now the Tigers are 1 pitch away from going up on Toronto a game and a half. Sparky Anderson and his club, with this big crowd coming to its feet all around this stadium. They're standing now.
Doyle Alexander's an emotionless guy. It'll be interesting to see if this game is saved for him by Henneman, how he reacts.
30,000 on their feet at Tiger Stadium. Just missed inside. Don't forget, tomorrow on NBC Sports, lots of NFL football action. Check your local listings for the games to be seen in your area, and remember, it all gets underway at 12:30 with NFL Live. Henneman ready to come again to Braggs. Inside, 2-2.
Sparky's got his bullpen ready with a left-handed hitter up next in Brock. If Henneman doesn't get him, it could be it. Hernandez will be ready. Eric King, the right-hander, has joined him.
Fly ball into right, going back and off the wall. 1 run is in. Here comes another, and it's a double. And this Brewer club is still alive here. There goes the shutout. The run's charged to Alexander.
They have asked Braggs to stop trying to be a strict pull hitter. And he is still young. He's got a chance to be an outstanding player. Still will make some rookie mistakes. Still will look bad when he tries to pull outside pitches, but not that time. He went the other way.
He now has 70 runs batted in on the year. Here's Greg Brock. There's a strike. Brewers need another base runner. Rob Deere is on deck. It's 5-2. Good stop by Noakes.
And it might tell you a little bit in this situation. Sparky perhaps has lost a little faith in Willie Hernandez with a left-handed hitter Brock up. He wasn't going to be pinch hit for. He's been hitting .300 against left-handers all year, just about all year. And Sparky saw the bullpen almost lose a 7-1 lead yesterday in the last inning. So he's going to stick with Henneman.
1-1 the count. Fouled away. 1-2, and again the Tigers are within one pitch of victory. First runs allowed in 28 and a third innings. Doyle Alexander, remarkable job he has done for these Tigers. Into short center. Can anybody get there? Yes. Alan Trammell makes